All right, good morning, you guys. It is 9:37 a.m. We have both of our zones marked out, and we are looking bullish today. We just swept this London high here. Looks like we're traveling towards previous session Asia high. We've been bearish the whole morning until, 9:30 hit. So we could be, having a bullish bias today. Definitely potential for that. We could even potentially get our setup right here. Let's see where this candle closes. All right, we do get our fair value gap that we need. We just now need this retest, and that retest is now there. Now we could be taking a bullish trade today, which is shocking to say the least. It's going to be interesting. I don't think we're going to be bullish today. I think it's really unlikely. Uh, yeah, it looks like this probably this is where our stop would be at this bottom of the wick here of invalidation. So if we want to enter, we have to have a candle closure in this little box right here. Probably going to target this Asia high maybe. We did break right through London, but we need to get an engulfing candle to close inside of this box right here if we want to enter. So little little iffy. I'd be a lot more comfortable taking a trade that is bearish today for obvious reasons. So let's see if price can turn around and potentially dump back through our 5 minute zone, and we can potentially take some shorts. So yeah, it looks like we're not going to be getting this set up here. So we'll go ahead and we'll take all of this stuff off. But yeah, let's just see what price does. Um, Definitely could come up and sweep this Asia high, and that would be interesting. But like I said, we're going to take our setup if it's there. If it's not there, we're not going to take it. So if our setup plays out to the upside, we'll take a trade to the upside. If it doesn't, then, you know, that's just how it goes. So let's see. But we do want to avoid the morning manipulation here. So we're not going to take a trade in our 5 minute zone. Um, I would much rather see us break out to the downside outside of our zone and then potentially target like London low or Asia low here. Um, Price has pretty much been bearish since Asia opened. So yeah, but we could take longs today. If our setup appears to the upside, we're going to take it because that's our setup. Not going to get married to a bias. So if it shows up, we'll take it. But let's see. All right, so it looks like we could be reversing off this Asia high. So let's just watch price and let's see. All right, we also got 10 a.m. news, 10 a.m. red folder news. So we could see a dump. So let's just be patient. Let's see if we get our setup to the downside after we break out of our 5 minute zone. And it'll be good because, let me turn this down. It'll be good because, right? I want to avoid the manipulation. So I'm not going to take a short unless we break to the downside of our 5 minute zone. And if it does, that means it's going to have to break structure on the 1 hour, right? So like if this candle closes to the upside, we broke structure to the upside. But if it comes back down and breaks structure to the downside, then we're good. We'll take shorts. We're going along with the trend and the bias, and I'll feel pretty comfortable taking shorts there. Now, we definitely could. Now, that red folder news definitely could continue with a bullish trend, obviously, right? Like we could get our setup to the upside and we can get in longs and we can target this New York high up here. So if price wants to be bullish today and it gives us that setup, we'll take it. We could be wrong 100%, but that's our setup. So I have to take it. That's my rules, right? That's my system. And if we end up getting stopped out and we end up being bearish for the day, like everyone in the world is thinking right now, then so be it. That's fine. As long as my stop loss is below 7 points, I'm cool with taking that loss. All right, well, we definitely could be taking longs today. We came back up. Looks like we're retesting this Asia high right now. And if we can push through it, we'll probably end up taking a long. Let's see where this candle closes. Looks like we might be getting our fair value gap here in a moment that we need. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark this out now. If it gets filled, then. That's how it goes. So we tested this Asia high, we came down, created a higher low, then we just pushed through the Asia high. So we could be targeting this New York high up here now. Let's see if we get our retest. And if we get our retest, then we can potentially enter on this setup, targeting New York high. As long as we can get our stop loss where we need it to be below 7 points, then we can potentially enter in on this. Um, so yeah, let's just see what happens. All right, well, looks like we're not going to be able to get in on that setup. Our stop loss would be too big. Looks like we could have a second fair value gap here that we could retest if we get a fair value gap here. Looks like we are not going to get a second fair value gap. We're going to have to wait for our setup again. Looks like we are going long here. Looks like we are going to target New York potentially. So let's see if we get our setup within this zone here. Probably get our setup somewhere up here. Lots of volume today. All these candles have really high volume. All right, it's really looking like we want to target this New York high and potentially this London high as well. So if we do get in, we might honestly target New York. If we get to New York, put stop loss at the nearest higher low and then target London. That's probably what we'll do if we get our setup. If we get our setup. All right, so now we have our fair value gap here. I don't think actually we could still. Let's see where this candle closes. We need a retest of the gap and then an engulfing candle. Stop loss needs to be less than 7 points. All right, we've got our retest now. Now let's watch price here. We could be dropping a little bit lower, but if we get this engulfing candle now, then we can get in. We need a candle to engulf. So we could get in on this candle if it flips around and engulfs, we can get in. So let's see. And then we can target this New York high. Did not expect to be taking longs today. Really. All right, now let's see where this candle closes. And if we get stopped out, this is our setup, right? If we get in. If we get stopped out, so be it. This is our setup. Have to take it. Looks like we are going to have a lower stop loss potentially. We need price to close inside this box. So let's watch this candle. Let's see where it closes. All right, we are now in the entry zone. So as long as we stay in the entry zone, we can enter if this candle closes. All right, looks like did not close in our entry zone. So now let's see if this candle closes where we need it to in our entry zone, or if it's gonna create a stop loss in which we cannot enter on the setup anymore. All right, right now, all right, it pushed above our entry zone. It has to close inside the entry zone. So let's see if it does. All right, we got to move our stop loss down more. Our entry zone is now a lot tighter. So this could be an invalid setup here in a moment if we push any further. All right, our entry zone is very, very small now. All right, and now we no longer have an entry zone. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to invalidate this setup and we're going to have to wait again. All right, I mean, we definitely could get back in the longs here. So basically, we have not broken structure here on the 5 minute. We have not broken structure on the 15 minute. So we could get back into longs here, potentially. We have our gap. All right, we could potentially get back into longs here if we get our setup to the upside. We haven't broken structure on the 15 minute. We look good on the 15 minute still. Could still be targeting this New York high up here. Um, so let's see. Let's see. I mean, if we get our setup to the upside, we'll probably take it. We'll probably take it. So yeah, I mean, I only got like 20 more minutes on the chart. I'm gonna get off at 11. So I mean, yeah. If we get our setup to the upside, we'll go ahead and we'll take it. Um, and then hope that we sweep New York high. Looks like we're kind of doing a little pump right here. So let's just keep an eye on it. I don't think we're actually going to be able to enter on either one of these gaps. I mean, it would be really, really cutting it close. Well, let's see. All right, we've got our retests. All right, we would need a candle to close inside this box here if we do want to get in. Has to close right here. Could get in a moment if this flickers. So let's keep an eye. But this is our setup. if we close inside our entry zone. We have to close inside of our entry zone. This could be it, and we could target New York high, um, or maybe not. So let's just see. This setup definitely could get invalidated here in a moment. So let's just see what this candle does. Let's see if this candle invalidates the setup or confirms it. So let's see.
Order filled.
All right, little late on the entry, but we have our point of invalidation here. Could get stopped out pretty much immediately here. All right, and let's go ahead and let's target this New York high. Could get stopped out pretty much immediately, so let's not get our hopes up at all. But we haven't broken structure on the 15, so we could just be finishing the route that we kind of made here. We kind of came up and created our first higher low. So let's just see if this candle wants to push um, to the rest of New York. We've clearly swept Asia with really no struggle sign there. And so if this candle wants to push, then we'll be all right. But, it's going to be telling. So let's just see. Hopefully this works out. We have a 5.75 stop loss below 7 points. Looking good. So, I mean, if we get stopped out, we get stopped out, and we'll hop off the charts for the day and we'll take the L. So, you know, but damn, that candle just barely engulfed. So, hopefully, we can push to the rest of New York. That'd be nice. And then once we create our first higher low, then I'll probably put my stop loss at the point of invalidation for that higher low. So, let's see. So, the big thing is that we just have to hope that we pushed up here in the 15. We just have to hope that this low that was created on the 15-minute was the higher low before we reach New York. So price pushes up, it creates a higher low, it comes back up, creates a new higher high, and hopefully that higher high is the one that sweeps New York session high. So that's what we're hoping for with this setup. Really, honestly, if we lose here, I'm completely okay with that because this is a pretty setup. I like it. I like it. I like the way it looks on the 15-minute. Um, on the 5 minute as well, I mean, you can say it broke structure here with this low, but it like really this I would say is the low. So we didn't even really break structure here on the 5 minute. Um, you know, so it's looking good, and we could potentially break structure if you want to count this as a higher low. We could potentially break structure here in a moment, and sweep this high here on the 5 minute, and that will be extra validation that this is probably going to go to New York. So, you know, but let's just see. Hopefully this plays out. And of course, we can get stopped out literally at any moment. So can't trip about it if we do, because this is a good setup. So if we do get stopped out, then, so be it. We just have to hope that price has a target, and we have to hope that it's just New York high today. We've already pushed through Asia. Then we got to the middle of Asia between New York. Then we created a higher low on the 15. We got in at the bottom of the higher low. And so let's just hope that we want to create a new higher high and sweep New York. So,
Order filled.
all right. And we will get off the charts for the day. That was a clean setup.
Oh, and by the way, we did end up sweeping New York High. So kind of unfortunate, but that's the game of trading. We took the L. Good entry, just a choppy, really choppy day. So yeah, pretty unfortunate, but let's get back to the video.
For the most part. So yeah, we were just kind of hoping that, it'd create this higher low and then create a new higher high here. And then we target New York. So clean setup. Um, Kind of had my bias for the moment and we took it. So yeah, that is pretty much going to be it for me today on the charts. We'll take the L, $442 loss today. Go ahead and fill out the post-trade check here for my psychology.
So TradeA Plus is a platform that I built to track my psychology. If you want to try it, go ahead and try it for free. Link in description.
All right, and I understand that losses are a natural part of the trading process, and I'm confident I'll be okay despite taking a loss today. Go ahead and affirm that. We'll log our post trade and we will check out our mental state percentage for the day. Should be good. 95%. Really good mental state percentage today. So yeah, I mean, look, we took the loss today, but overall doesn't matter because if we have good psychology and we take A plus setups, like we did, then we're gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine. Losses are a natural part of trading, and it was a clean setup. Glad I took it. And yeah, seems like we're not really doing much right now anyway. So I mean, it was a clean setup, just an unlucky day for me. And yeah, that's cool with me. So that is going to be it for today, boys. I appreciate you guys watching, and I will catch you guys tomorrow. Peace out.